Sauce
Bills
Godzilla. I love it.
Mafia, ladies and gentlemen, Buffalo Bills fans, and everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is the Sit Down, hosted by myself, the Sauce God, and co-hosted by Ramparts Hockey and 12 Gauge, right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and on Twitter, formerly actually X, formerly known as Twitter. So if you're watching this, do us a favor, hit that like, hit that share button, and if you're watching on X, might as well hit that retweet button and join us on the YouTube channel at Buffalo Sauce God, which you need to make sure you're subscribed to with your notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the live Buffalo Bills updates or any of the live entertainment or any of the podcasts that we have here coming from the guys here at the Game Book. So Bills Mafia, man, we've got quite a bit to discuss. There was a groundbreaking trade, a trade that I think needed to happen. There's a lot of people that are either fired up about it. There's people that are not fired up about it. There's people that are calling for the heads of Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. There's people that are praising them. So we have to give you our reaction and our take. But before we do that, hit that react button, hit that share button, and join us here in the comments. Engage. Let's go ahead and play that beginning introduction here in the sit down, and let's get this show kicked off, and let's get after it, ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh. Gage is lagging.
Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's simple, baby. Buffalo Bills football is egg, all right? And we tell you something.
I'm gonna crack a cold one because since it's a tailgate.
Ooh, ice cold, Mike. Let me tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are live here in the Sit Down with Sauce God, the sports and entertainment show.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with guard. Your mama, you holding your pennies and bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, he taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stomping the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving the signs. But now we starting to riot, yeah. Keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be blessing. I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave and rapping incredible. Splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce, kicking the door. But then we been here before. She ain't involved, what she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even if down, we tying the score. Do your dance and now twist, don't stress, don't trip. Whipping sauce real quick, stay dripping. Sipping on cognac, roll tea in my veins, but you find that I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy.
How you doing it?
I'm twisting and mixing and shaking them haters right off me.
What you doing?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're live here in the Sit Down, a sports and entertainment show, and also your coverage for Buffalo Bills and Buffalo Sabres, and as well as all Buffalo sports. So if you could do us a favor, hit that react button, hit that share button. A lot of stuff has been going on down this week, featuring me as the employee of the day for 97 Rock. Quick shout out to 97 Rock and everybody over there for making me the employee of the day on Monday. And quick shout out to Duff's, our proud sponsor. This show is presented by Duff's Miss Wings, the best damn chicken wings there are. You don't have to ask for them extra crispy. Remember, the medium is hot. Go to the original on Sheridan. Dollar Wings on Wednesdays is now over because it is no longer March, but they still have got the most fire chicken wings. Check them out. And this is presented by BuffaloSauceGuy.com, your source for daily entertainment and also everything sports entertainment. So, first and foremost, the news came down. I got blown up all day from texts from people who were praising this, and then there were people that weren't praising this. There are people that are thinking that we're going to be tanking now, and we're going to be entering a full-out rebuild. There's people that see us bolstering up with what we have acquired in draft capital, but the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans agreed to a massive trade today that sent shockwaves to the NFL and definitely changes the landscape of the current NFL situation in the AFC Conference. The Buffalo Bills sent Stefon Diggs, a 2024 sixth rounder and a 2025 fifth rounder in exchange for a 2025 fifth round pick. And I think a lot of people out there were anticipating if Diggs was going to be traded that we would get a first round in return. But you have to remember that his salary cap hit isn't necessarily something that is eye-popping for a team to want to go after. You know, he was going to cost the Bills $40 million in cap this year, but they're going to have a dead cap hit of $31.9 million. So they're going to still eat a lot of his salary, which sucks. The Bills didn't look like they made out in this trade. But, Tyler, you saw the trade go down. What was your initial reaction to seeing this massive trade?
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to go to this, right? I said this on prior shows. I don't think Diggs is a cold weather receiver. I never thought he really truly fit in Buffalo. I think, he would play great the first 8 games of the season. And then eventually, he would just start dropping balls out of nowhere. And I think that was a big reason why you would like to get, maybe Collins in exchange for him, something. You got to haggle something for, in my opinion, a top 5 receiver in the game. I think, Stefon Diggs has all the talent in the world. He is getting up there in age. What is he, 30, 31 years old?
I
So,
believe
I
he's
mean, you
30
had to
years
make
old
this
this
move
year.
eventually if you're the Buffalo Bills, because the cap issue, man. You can't keep paying all these guys. You got to have guys step up. I think Shakir comes in that role a lot. And, all seeing all, maybe we should have tried to keep 13. I mean, man, oh man, now it's like you just lost 2 of them. And I can understand why some people are a little discouraged and upset about it, but it's Buffalo football, man. You got to keep having the love, man. It's one love, baby.
Say this too. First and foremost, I want to thank Stefon Diggs for the 4 years that he was here, because he was an exceptional player. He was all pro level every single year that he was here. And what he was able to do for Josh Allen's development, I will never forget that. And I'm not a guy that will not give him credit, because he has performed. However, he has tailed off in the later parts of the season, like Tyler just said. And that's something that's true. I'll give you one prime example. I'm not even talking this season. I'm talking back in 2021. We're playing against the Patriots in an absolute monstrous windy game where Mac Jones can't even throw the ball more than twice because he's a little bitch, right? But Josh Allen throws an absolute bomb, and it's an absolute dime to Stefon Diggs, and it hits him in the hands in the end zone, drops it. Okay, this year you're playing against Kansas City. You're asking for the ball. You're so upset that you're not getting the ball enough. Josh Allen throws you an absolute dime. It's an absolute Hail Mary to Stefon Diggs, a catch that would have been crucial for the Bills to beat Kansas City that game, but he drops it, and there's no words. Shannon Sharp called out Stefon Diggs, and I agree with him, because you don't act like the world ain't going your way, but when the world comes your way, you look the other way. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that kind of shit. And I'm going to tell you this. He wants the ball more. Good luck in Houston. CJ Stroud already has existing chemistry with the offense that is already over there, and it's going to be hard for him to find his touches on that offense. I'm sure that obviously he's an upgrade to their current wide receiver staff, but like you just said too, Tyler, it makes me wonder how the hell we didn't keep 13. I know he got a big contract from the Jaguars, and that's maybe something that we didn't necessarily want to try and match, because he did get paid, and I'm sure that that's most of the reason of why we didn't keep him. But now you have Dalton Kincaid. You have Khalil Shakir. You've got Stonehands Knox. You got James Cook, who's obviously proven to be a really good running back as well. And, the Kincaid target is, I think, what makes the Bills feel a little bit more comfortable letting go of a guy like Stefon Diggs. And then you pair that up with the production from Khalil Shakir. What he did, if you look at that side-by-side picture, in less targets, had more yards than Stefon Diggs, and he was catching everything. So the Bills probably said to themselves, hey, we have a good young core of guys out there. We still have our all-world quarterback in Josh Allen. We've been able to maintain a good amount of the offensive line. We've bolstered up in certain other areas. Our defense still looks good. We've made some cuts, but we've gotten compliant with the cap. It just makes you wonder, what is the Bills' next move? 12 Gauge, let me ask you a question, brother. After seeing this trade, were you mostly happy with it, or were you a little upset?
A little upset that we only got one fucking pick out of it, but this makes me think we're going for a wide receiver in the draft.
I think 12.
Yeah,
You hit the nail on the head right there, bro. Because if there's a player that you would give up Stefon Diggs for to go and trade to try and get in the draft, it's got to be a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Who not only is, I think, the best player in the draft, I think he's been exceptionally at the highest level in the last couple of years that he's played football for Ohio State. And his attitude, I think if you couple that up with Josh Allen, that's something that the Bills see as more of a winning formula, because I do fully believe this. The Bills realize that we've hit our peak. We've hit the peak. We're not getting that same big-time production from Stefon Diggs in the big games that we need him to. And then on top of it, he's a distraction. It reminds me of a situation similar to Jack Eichel. It makes you wonder if Minnesota fans 4 years ago were right when they said he's a diva. He's a cancer in the locker room. Because to me, this is the final straw. Last night, he tweets in response to somebody tweeting about the fact that, he's not vital to Josh Allen's success. And he responded, in quotations, "You sure? Question mark." That right there says to me,
Huh.
he's nothing without me. He would have been nothing without me. Now, sure, you might have been instrumental to his success, but Josh Allen was getting there with John Brown and Cole Beasley and a subpar offensive line and a subpar running game. But when he's been able to have players put around him, he's made players better. Gabriel Davis, for one. Dawson Knox, for two. Okay, so it's a little bit upsetting to me, but at the same time, you got to take what you can get. Tyler, do you think the Bills could have gotten more?
I don't even think that's a question. I think it was a more a matter of fact they had to. So, teams could lowball them. When you have to get rid of somebody, teams are going to lowball you, and then you're going to take the best lowball offer, right? Mm-hmm. And even if you don't get somebody this draft, who says next year you can't get somebody in the draft? Josh Allen's what, 28 years old? 20, what is he? He's young still. He's got a lot of football left in him. I'm not really too concerned. But, man, that Texans offense is them and the Jaguars are going to slug it out, buddy.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the AFC South just got fucking real spooky. And I don't know if Stefon Diggs necessarily is something that Houston needed, though. And, I mean, I get that he's a true number one receiver and he can do a lot of great things for any offense in this league. But it's an offense that I didn't really think was missing very much. You know what I'm saying? I think that they really had something clicking in just their first year with C.J. Stroud. I think now – this might have been something Houston could have had coming in that's going to have a negative impact, because now you're going to have a guy that wants to come in and he wants all these touches in the world, but you got a guy out there in Nico Collins. You got a guy out there in Tank Dell. You know what I'm saying? You still got John Mechie. You've got a lot of talent out there that is already vibing with C.J. Stroud. Now, I think C.J. Stroud has a great character. He's a great leader, and he's been proven to be a good quarterback already in just his first year. But it's going to be a little bit tricky trying to, fit all that into one offense and get everybody kind of distributed evenly. Here's something else I wanted to ask you both, and this is something that there is mixed reports about. Rampart, let me start with you on this one. Do you think Josh Allen was made aware that they were going to trade him, or was he made aware? Did you think that they maybe consulted him?
I think they asked for his blessing, because there's two people you talk to in the just like when you think the GM went over DeMeco Ryan's head and said, hey, we're trading for Stefon Diggs. This is what we're going to give up, yada, yada, yada. I think you do the same with Josh Allen. When you have in my opinion, a top 4 quarterback in the NFL, you're going to bring that by him, because do you think you can get it done without him? That's the question you're going to ask him.
Now, 12 gauge, let me ask you this, brother. Do you think that it's possible the Bills consulted Josh Allen first, or do you think that maybe he had no idea?
Well, I think they would have had to. Josh's success maybe was dependent on Stefon Diggs. Maybe.
Here's my thoughts. I believe that they had to have consulted him. Okay, but there's a report that just came out not that long ago at about 5:03. I got the text message from my buddy Drew saying to me, and it showed a picture that Josh Allen was not aware that there was going to be a trade. He knew there was a possibility of it, but he was not consulted and asked, is it okay if we trade Stefon Diggs? Now, I listen, I'm all for making sure your quarterback looks good and the PR purposes and all that, but I don't think that for 2 seconds they didn't call Josh and say, we're going to make a trade because we don't think this is going to work. And we got to let go of Stefon Diggs. I think that Josh Allen, I don't think he requested for Stefon Diggs to be traded. Not at all. I don't think that at all. But I definitely think that he said, if it's what you got to do, then it's what you got to do. Because I think at the same time, it's got to be frustrating for Josh Allen to have Stefon Diggs having his hands up on the sideline, asking, what the hell is going on? Where's the ball? You know what I mean? When meanwhile, you're getting the ball and you're just dropping it. So Sauce Godzilla's on camera today with you guys because I'm a little pissed off, man. Stefon Diggs, all this negative attention that he's brought with the media and these cryptic tweets, and he's over there overseas on Fashion Week. It's just, I'm tired of it, man. And I don't think that we have time for that kind of shit here in Buffalo. And I do believe that Stefon Diggs was messing with the chemistry that existed in the locker room that was building since 2017. That championship culture, that playoff DNA that we were kind of molding into our players, right? I think Stefon Diggs kind of came over and it was just too much attention and too much drama. You don't see that from Khalil Shakir. Hell, you didn't even see that from Gabe Davis. You definitely don't see that from Dalton Kincaid. You don't see it from James Cook. You don't see it from anybody else on that Bills offense but Stefon Diggs, the only guy that really seemed to have that much attention. Brandon hasn't talked to him today, but he said there was something in the works. Brandon Beane just wants to communicate with Josh. I agree that you have to. It's your quarterback that is literally, hey, when things were good, they were brothers. You know what I mean? There was the video where Stefon Diggs was going, I'm thankful for you, brother, and crying and this and that. But it hasn't been there in the last season and a half as much as it was in the first 2.5 seasons. Overall, Gage, do you think the Bills are going to gear up and trade up into the top 5 for the draft?
With this trade, I definitely can see it's a possibility. For sure.
Tyler, obviously, we know Caleb Williams is going number 1 to Chicago after they traded Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think there's no question at 2, Washington is probably going to select, who is it, the Jaden Daniels kid? No, I'm not sure. There's people that think that Drake May is going 3rd to the Patriots, and then J.J. McCarthy 4th. So if the Cardinals are at 4, Tyler, do you think that they're going to possibly go for a receiver? Do you think they're looking to trade out of there, or what do you think?
I think if the Bills are going to make a major trade, they're going to have to give up a major asset to get that trade done. And to me, I don't think it's time. I think you give it a year, 2 years, reload. Let that salary cap kind of balance itself out before you just go in and splurge. Everybody just needs to hold their horses, be calm. Don't let everything get to you yourself. Like, it's okay, guys. It's okay.
Here's I think they may trade it for Brian Thomas Jr., but not top 10. I'll tell you what, man. What I think the Bills could do if they trade enough draft capital, it's going to cost a lot to move up there. But I mean, a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. could be a once in a generational type of player. I mean, but at the same time, you brought up a good point here, Tyler, that they're going to have to do something drastic. They're going to have to trade something, but that means maybe Bills Mafia, and I hate to say it, the Bills may be looking to take a little bit of a step back this year, and then in the following season have, I think, $100 million to spend in cap or something like that, something ridiculous. Because obviously we let go a lot of the guys on defense and offense that were a part of the core of this entire team, and those were tough decisions to make. But they got us to where we were compliant with the cap, and we were in a position to be somewhat competitive in free agency as well. We got a guy like Curtis Samuel. I mean, that's not peanuts, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think Curtis Samuel is your replacement at the wide receiver number 1. So the Bills are probably going to trade up, I would imagine, to draft a receiver. I don't anticipate, because I did watch Brandon Beane's press conference at 4 p.m., and he said that we don't make decisions, with the intent of taking a step back or not being competitive. We make decisions with the intent of winning football games. And it's not just one decision that makes us trade for a player. I mean, it wasn't one decision that made us trade for Stefon Diggs in the first place, but there's a multitude of things that go into this, and that means to me that the Bills still obviously see that they have a Super Bowl window with Josh Allen that doesn't close as long as you have him healthy and playing football at the level that he's been playing at. I don't know if you have anybody that necessarily is eye-popping to trade for. I think the only thing that anybody could really offer for the Bills is draft capital. But how much are you really going to get or give up to move into the top 5? Tyler, obviously, they gain a second-round pick next year. They got a second-round pick, I believe, this year. Do you think that it's possible they could give up this year's first round and the second round this year and a second round next year and maybe actually get themselves in the top 10?
Sauce, I think the only player you're going to move to get up there is Von Miller. And do you want to take that chance, dude? Like, honestly,
hey,
like, I know
team that wants to trade for Von Miller for draft capital, I'm okay with that, because we're going to be even lighter at the salary cap area, but still, I doubt that would happen. But
that's just the player I could see, that anyone would really, maybe think about. You throw in Von, maybe a second round pick, and maybe a 4th, and maybe you can get off that second pick. Because in my opinion, man, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going top 3, I think, personally. I don't think...
I mean, it makes the most sense. He's not going later than 4. Unless it is 4 quarterbacks in a row taken, which is still a possibility, because the Cardinals at this moment look committed to Kyler Murray for the foreseeable future, at least, which would tell me that they're either going to draft a receiver or they're going to trade out of that spot and maybe bolster up their draft capital. But overall, look we can actually finally get comments on X, formerly known as Twitter. Awesome.
Let's go.
Vaughn Miller sucks when you talk about. No, he doesn't, man. He was hurt last year. Don't start up with that nonsense, okay, Justin?
Player
Appreciate
coach.
you. But God, go ahead, Tyler. Take it.
Von Miller definitely doesn't suck. I mean, yeah, he's had his injuries and years, but dude, what he did last year was be a player coach, man. He Russo stepped the up, and I think Von gave him a lot of pointers and a lot of ways to beat that tackle position. And I definitely think like Von Miller's definitely a beast still. He was just hurt, man. That's all it was to it. I mean,
coming off of an ACL injury, man, it's tough.
that's like fuck
Absolutely.
shit, man. When a horse breaks its leg, you kill him. You know
exactly. I mean, shit. Not everybody's Adrian Peterson, where you blow out both your knees and you win MVP. That just doesn't happen,
No.
guys. I mean, Von Miller is
Right.
still a warrior, and he's a pivotal guy in the locker room too. And he brings a great attitude. He's got the championship DNA. He's obviously got everything it takes to be a leader in the locker room, and he is. I mean, look at the way that Rousseau has played, AJ Epinesa, the way that our defensive ends have played since he has come here. I think is part of the worth in his contract itself. And you guys know me, I'm an optimist. I don't like to look at negatives. I don't like to bash players. I just like to be a little bit of a realist, but I also like to look on the bright side because I still believe the Bills are going to be more than competitive and at least trying to get themselves to win the AFC East again. I mean, the Jets, sure, they get Hassan Reddick this week, but are the Jets really going to take the AFC East? Are the Patriots really going to turn things around in a year? Is Miami really at that level when they don't even have Tua extended yet? I don't know. Thomas Jr., Troy Franklin, or Xavier Legette. I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of talent at wide receiver in this draft, and I definitely believe that's what the Bills are making it clear that they're going for. I mean, you don't just lose your number one and number two guys and not go and find some sort of replacement for it unless they really believe that Curtis Samuel is that replacement. And as much as I like Curtis Samuel and I like the addition, he is not the replacement for Stefon Diggs or Gabe Davis. And if he is, by some sheer chance, well, I will eat my words, believe me. But if you guys are just now tuning in, you're live here in the Sit Down A Sports Entertainment Show, your Bills Mafia and Buffalo Sabres and Buffalo Sports coverage right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and X, formerly known as Twitter, hosted by the Sauce God, myself, at Buffalo Sauce God across all social media platforms. Make sure you're liked, following, and subscribe with your notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the Buffalo Bills news or any of the entertainment and content that we have coming out here from the Game Book. And this is also hosted by my guys 12 Gauge over here and Ramparts Hockey. So the Sabres have defeated the Capitals last night 6-2 at home, and they are going to be playing the Flyers on Friday night. Tyler, tell me, brother, how are you feeling about that?
I was at the game last night. It was a great game. I seen Skinner. He was, it is what it is, man. But anyways, I think that, it's a lot like this year. You take what you learned, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I mean, you come out in big games all the time, and then the games you should win, you lose. So you can't let that happen anymore because it ain't no throwaway game up in Rochester.
Yeah, no PhD throw over here, bada bing, bada boom. 12 Gauge, brother, how have you been doing in the world of sports betting?
Well, I called out JJ Paterka last night from the scored goal, and he netted 2 last night. So, yeah.
JJ Paterka got it done last night. And I want to say something else about the Sabres. Last night, everybody's getting a turn. Rasmus Dahlin, Tage, Tucky over there getting a little bit of the action. It was nice to see the Sabres. It just is a damn shame that it's happening this late in the season. But, hey, nonetheless, I do see something brewing at KeyBank Arena with those Buffalo Sabres, and it makes me really excited to see the rest of the season and see what they have coming up. But, hey, there's going to be some possible tough decisions to make following the end of the season. By the way, my guy Bobby Snyder saying, hey, Sauce, he will be doing some live shows for Buffalo fan base here coming up soon, and he's looking to have me on as a guest. And appreciate you for stopping in, Robbie. And I want to give a quick shout out to the YouTube channel at Buffalo Sauce Guy, which is 11 subscribers away from 500. And if you haven't already done so, please head on over to the YouTube channel at Buffalo Sauce God. And that's got all your Buffalo Bills content, all the best shorts, and of course, home of the live version of the sit down right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, hosted by myself, Sauce Guy, Ramparts Hockey, 12 Gauge, and presented by Duff Smith Wings and BuffaloSauceGuy.com. How about the Yankees start to the season? You know, they had lost their first one to the Diamondbacks last night, but man, they have opened up absolutely on fire with Juan Soto leading the way, and the Yankees look like they're having fun. Tyler, what do you think of baseball season so far?
There's a lot of teams I didn't expect to be good, and they're good.
Yeah.
But we all know with baseball, man, there's 162 games, so we'll see how the duration of the season lasts.
Yeah, baseball has definitely been exciting. You know, I got a couple bets in over here for a couple two-teamers, you know what I'm saying? So trying to see if I can bolster up the winnings on that. And, you know, for everybody that watches, and if you are tuned in for any sports betting content, I want to say that we do not encourage or endorse any illegal or underage gambling. Bet and play at your own risk where it is legal to do so. If you have a problem with gambling, there is a hotline and help available to you. 12 gauge, you got any picks to give the people for tonight?
I honestly haven't looked. I just woke
just
up
woke up,
about 45 minutes ago. So
By the way,
I
everybody, if you're
will.
drinking milk in Western New York, you better thank this guy, 12 gauge, because he's powering up all Western New York's milk supply, and he's absolutely kicking ass, and he's staying rocking on. And of course, Rampart over here has got you guys covered if you need anything with the golf club association. You got golf carts, you know what I'm saying? This guy over there is powering up Western New York's
Hit me
golf
up.
industry. And by the way, we got to get some golf in here soon with the weather finally starting to get nice, but it is, of course, a rainy one out there, ladies and gentlemen. And so any other things you guys want to talk about before we go ahead and get on out of here?
I need it to be 55 and sunny.
Exactly. 55 sunny with a little bit of a breeze, just a tad bit of a breeze. You know what I'm saying? So I'd like to thank everybody for your likes, your shares, your comments, and for tuning in to the special edition of the Sit Down covering the Stefon Diggs and Buffalo Bills to the Houston Texans trade. And that saw a 2025 second rounder coming the Buffalo Bills way in exchange for Diggs and two picks. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for tuning into the Sit Down presented by BuffaloSauceGod.com and Duff's Miss Wings, the best damn chicken wings on the planet. Make sure you're like, sharing, and subscribe to all of the content with your notifications turned on at Buffalo Sauce God and Anthony Bomasuto's Facebook profile and at the Gamebook Sports and Entertainment Network page on Facebook and on YouTube and on everything that you guys need as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on X, Woman Knows Twitter, make sure you're following, retweet this, and check out the other social media platforms. And we'll be back here in the Sit Down in the coming days. We appreciate everybody right here in the Sit Down.